Hey guys, I should be live now. Should be live. So I set it up there that I was going to go live in 5 or 6 minutes, but I saw there was a few of you waiting there. I was just double checking that the audio and all that was okay. So for today's live stream, I have been I very intelligently just called it today's date. What I normally do is I look at the topics I'm going to discuss during the live stream and I call it, something related to that. But I just called it today's date, which is relevant, I guess. I guess it's relevant because it means that it will be dated. And that's the thing with live streams. They do become very dated very quickly because what you talk about stops being relevant. So, as far as what we're going to be talking about today, there's a few things I want to talk about what I've been doing, and then we'll just see what happens. We'll just see who turns up, what questions are asked, and we will take it from there. As far as what I've done today, I have had to have a costume change. So I don't know what it's like for you guys, but here in the UK, it is absolutely boiling. It's really, really warm, and it's going to be for the next week. And just sitting in this room today, I recorded a couple of videos. The sweat was just ripping out me, so I had to go and do a costume change, get showered and all that before I went live. It's ridiculous how warm it gets in this room. Even with, just a little window there, I'm kind of enclosed a little bit, but just with the lights and different things, it is insane. With regards to the two videos that I did, it'll be a couple of days before I get those edited, but for me it was quite good to even get those videos recorded because I've not did a lot of recording over the last few months, so I'm trying to get back into normality, trying to get back into the routine of recording, streaming, editing, getting content out there. The content, as they call it. I'll set up some news websites just now. There's a few things that I saw today. See if I can get it. What was I looking at? I was looking at this website. If there's anything you want to talk about, please do leave a comment. And we'll get going. Hey Saucy Ultra, good to see you again. Oh, I've never seen that before. I'll have a look at that. So we'll just look at some headlines just now before people turn up, and we can get a proper discussion going. So I was just looking at it there, and this pops up here. YouTube makes subscriber-only chats and polls available to all streamers. So this is something I saw the other day. Yeah, I was just reading about that actually. I was just reading that about the Fold 3. I'll get to that in a second. I was just reading at if I change back to the browser, I've got it lined up there. So I'll open that up in a different window and we can chat about that. But with regards to YouTube, I saw this the other day, and I saw that they can make it now that you can do streaming like I'm doing just now. You can do streams only for subscribers. I think that's a good move. I think that's quite a good move. The Z Flip 3. Yeah, that's it there. That was the headline there. So what YouTube's talking about there, when I went to live stream the other day, they gave me an option so that the comment box, the comment box that you guys are looking at right now, they gave me an option that only subscribers could actually comment. And they also gave me an option of delaying how long someone, setting the time that someone has to be a subscriber before they can comment. Now that's quite good because there has been, to be honest, I've been quite good. I've been quite lucky. But there have been a few times in the past where spammers have arrived and they start posting like abuse or racist remarks and I can't deal with stuff like that. I just don't want it. So this is a good tool to tackle that. And I think moving forward, I do like the idea of only allowing subscribers to comment during live streams. Now, I'm not trying to force people to subscribe to my channel, but I also think that really, if you want to participate in the discussion and get yourself involved in the live stream, asking for a subscription isn't that much either. So I've not set it up like this during this live stream. But I think in future live streams, once I start doing more of these, I might make it only, so that only subscribers can chat. What do you guys think about that? I don't think that's a lot to ask, really. I don't like forcing people to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe if you want to, don't subscribe, whatever. But I think if you're participating in a live stream, I think being a subscriber isn't a lot to ask. Let me know what you think though, guys. Obviously, I'm looking at it from this end of the camera, looking at it from a, the creator's point of view. Yeah, I noticed that a few days ago. I thought it was quite an interesting. I thought it was an interesting feature. I saw there was polls as well that you can only make available to streamers. What do you mean? Why are you only 50-50? I'm genuinely curious because it's good for me to hear the other side of this. I thought it was a good thing for me because it would help me reduce the kind of crappy, the shitty comments, the snarky, abusive comments, all that kind of stuff. It kind of eliminates a lot of that if you make it so only subscribers can comment. I think there are some YouTube channels though that wouldn't work. There are some YouTube channels and setups that wouldn't work. Like, for example, you've got a big announcement of a brand new phone and there's a live stream. I think asking people to subscribe is maybe not the right thing to do because you really want everyone to be able to watch and to participate. But I think for a live stream like this, if you're trying to make it more inclusive, and I don't know, like one of the things I like about live streams is that it's the same people that drop by a lot. If you're trying to create that kind of environment, I think this is a good tool. I'd like to, like I said, I'd like to hear why you think you're 50-50 about it. So one of the things I saw today is that, if I switch over, Netflix will reportedly offer video games within the next year. This isn't really, I guess this isn't a big surprise. I mean, I'm surprised that Amazon and Netflix haven't, really went deeper on this as yet. It's a natural step for them when they've got customers to try and push gaming to them as well and try and grab more of those people, bring them into their ecosystem. So kind of double back with regards to the YouTube subscriber thing. Tranquil, how do I even say that? Tranquista. Tranquil Tranquista. It makes sense to be a subscriber to participate anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be. I don't know. Like one of the issues I've got for YouTube, the big issues that I have with YouTube is there's no accountability, and what that means is someone can come onto my channel and they can post racist abuse about anything. Even though I'm white, they might post about black people, or maybe they'll post about a Scottish person or a British person, or maybe they'll just post just the most horrible, abusive, just horrible stuff. No one should be able to post. The problem is that when I mark that person as, spam or abusive, or I block them from the channel, they are still free to do what they want on other channels. They can continue to post their hate elsewhere. And I think there has to be more accountability on YouTube with regards to that. I don't think, yes, I realise it's a fine balance between, having the right to be anonymous and all that, but if you start being that horrible to people on a platform, I don't think you should have the right to be anonymous. I don't think you have the right to be abusive to people. And I think that's one way to tackle that, is to make people, subscribe. Granted, there's easy ways around that, subscribe and then unsubscribe later and all that, but not right. So Saucy Ultra reason, not saying some streamers will do it, but some might just force you to subscribe to make them gain subscribers faster. But on the other hand, it prevents spam comments. The thing is, like, is it a bad thing to subscribe to someone that you're watching the live stream and you want to participate and get involved in the discussion? I don't think it's a bad thing, especially if you can unsubscribe later. I do like, from my point of view, from a moderation spam point of view, I think it's a good thing, and I can see me setting this up in a few weeks, at least giving it a try, so that hey, Flood of Sins, what we're talking about just now is that there's a new feature on YouTube that you can only allow people to comment if they're a subscriber. I'm just asking for everyone's opinion. I can see the benefit of this setup, of using this myself. It's maybe not something that I need just now, though. Relatively, my channel is good. I only seem to attract mostly men, mostly people that are interested in technology. Most people are nice. I don't get a flood of spam. I don't really get a flood of abuse. Certainly not in live streams. But if I keep doing more streams and this live stream becomes, that instead of 5 people or 10 people online, there's 20, 30, 50 or 100, gets a point where it can be quite hard from a moderation point of view as well. And that's where, asking people to subscribe, etc. can help. Trolls can just create multiple accounts. Yeah, that's the thing as well. YouTube makes it very easy to create an infinite amount of accounts, not counts. But that's the thing. Spam is still a major problem on YouTube. A major problem. To the point where I had another YouTube channel. Some of you might have known this, where I talked about business and cryptocurrency. It's still live, but I don't update it anymore. And the reason is that it gets so much spam that I can't actually publish videos and enable comments. So what I've been thinking about doing is launching that channel again, disabling comments on all videos, but allowing comments on live streams. And the reason is, every time I posted a video, I would get, within the first few days, hundreds of spam comments. And on a daily basis, I would, it was hundreds of spam comments get through, even with all the filters they get through, and it just makes it unmanageable. Okay, so with regards to this story, I don't think it's a surprise. I'm surprised Netflix didn't do it sooner. And if you look at kind of business reports, the money that Netflix has got, they really should be buying up smaller gaming companies, and they should be even trying to buy old gaming titles and different things. They've got it set up that they could, certainly with the online, the live gaming online side of things. We saw Google doing that with the Google Stadia, where the hosted gaming thing just hasn't taken off. But Netflix are in a good position to just sell a controller and say play online via your Netflix connection, even if it's just for older games. We'll see what happens. I'm surprised that Amazon hasn't delved deeper into this yet, considering the money they've got. The other thing I was looking at there is WhatsApp is testing multi-device sync that doesn't require a phone. Now, I don't know about you guys, but WhatsApp has pretty much replaced text messaging. No one I know really sends a text message anymore. It's all WhatsApp. But right now, you have to be connected to your phone. And I use WhatsApp on my browser a lot. Like when I use WhatsApp and I'm messaging people, I'm using it via the browser. But you can only be logged into one browser, one computer at a time. And if I log into my laptop, it will log me out of the browser here. I guess I realize they've simplified it. They've tried to keep it as a, just one phone, one central messaging setup, I guess. But I love the idea of being able to access WhatsApp many different places. For example, if you'd left your phone in the house and you're out and you've got your laptop, it would be good to be able to use WhatsApp. I realize it does obviously bring up security concerns, so I don't know how they're going to protect that as far as making it secure so that no one else can use WhatsApp. But I would like to see this feature added. It should be closer to the way that, I don't know, like things like MSN Messenger and all that worked in the past, where you could sign into, you know, lots of different places. Don't know, we'll see. So I want to talk about the Galaxy. Twitter is going to remove fleets. I saw something about that there. Yeah, there it's there. I knew I saw that. Okay, fleets are disappearing forever after only 8 months. The short-lived feature was at times controversial. Soon after it rolled out, Twitter users many raised the question about how the feature could be used to target others for harassment. This wasn't something. This wasn't. Yeah, I never used it either. I never used it myself. Yeah. To share their fleeting thoughts. Yeah, I don't care about that. Twitter is really the only social media platform that I'm really active on. Like, I've got a Facebook account, which I really should just delete because I don't like the platform as a whole. And I realise that's tied into WhatsApp. I've got a LinkedIn account, which I never check. Twitter is the only account, the only social media platform that I continue to, you know, check in on a regular basis. It's the only one I kind of interact with other people on. But the whole fleeting thing, I guess, I mean, it's just one of those features. Did you guys use it a lot? WhatsApp just implements whatever Telegram has done after 2 years. Well, again, I've got a Telegram account, and I downloaded Signal as well. I've not really used Signal. I downloaded Signal around the time when everyone was saying you should use Signal instead of WhatsApp. But, I mean, you have to go where everyone else is. And I realise, I mean, it's a catch-22. If people don't start moving to another platform, then you'll never start using that platform. But I could go to Signal, and I saw some other friends downloaded it, but we keep going back to WhatsApp to message each other. One of the biggest problems, I'll tell you what I hate about Twitter is it shows me, I don't know if there's a way, maybe there's a way to change this. The last time I checked, there wasn't a way to change this, but one of the things I hate about Twitter is that when you go on, it says this person liked this person liked this. And it's kind of removed the whole point of retweets. The whole point is when you follow someone and they retweet something, they're saying, hey, this is an article that I want you to read, or this is something I want you to read. But now Twitter's showing you what other people have simply liked. And the problem is now when I go to the social, you know, the homepage and I go to the main feed, none of it is relevant to me. And that's because there are people that I follow. Maybe it's because they're tech, maybe it's sports or whatever, but they've simply clicked like on another tweet, and then I see all their, you know, all these tweets popping up. I don't know if there's a way to stop that, but it's actually pushing me away from using Twitter because it's annoying me so much. Can you help me? My tablet keeps vibrating. I suspect you've got it on vibrate mode. I assume that's what's going on. Is it for notifications or? It's such a general question. Like, I know nothing about your setup. I don't know your tablet. I don't know if it's an iPad or Android. I don't know anything. As far as tablets vibrating though, I've only got one situation. With this. Years ago, an ex-girlfriend of mine sold an Android phone. She sold a Sony Xperia type phone. She sold it on eBay, and then about 6 weeks or 2 months, it was beyond the 30-day period. About 2 months later, that person returned the phone, and they did a dispute with PayPal, and they returned the phone, and they said the phone's broke, it doesn't stop vibrating. And she got the phone back, and the guy had the audacity to ask for a refund for the screen that he'd put on it for some reason. But he says, oh, it never stops vibrating, I can't use it. And basically I went like that with the phone. I just went like that, vibration off. The guy had it set up just to constantly vibrate. It was like a setting for vibration for messaging. I'm not sure if that's what you've done. What? That's not the problem. The missus wants to use the tablet now. I don't know what you're talking about. Also sometimes shows up when someone you follow comments on a tweet. Yeah, and I think you have to, maybe there's a setting for that now. There wasn't one earlier on when I looked into that. There wasn't a setting for me to say I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that person's tweets. Or I mean, I've had a look at it in the settings area. The last time I checked, there wasn't a way to stop that. Maybe there is now. As far as what you see, I basically only want to see what pops up on someone's profile, what they post and what they retweet. That is it. There's maybe a way to do it now. The last time I checked, there wasn't a way to do it. Sexual innuendos. Oh yeah. I was a little bit slow there. Can't beat a classic dildo joke. I wasn't even paying attention. I was too busy on my rant with social media. So Saucy Ultra was asking about the Samsung, I don't know why I said it like that. The Samsung Galaxy Z or Z Flip 3. I've really, like, my wife really wanted to buy one of those flip phones, and I was keen to try it as well. But every time I saw a review of one of them, people just kept talking about how the screen was coming off, you know, the layer at the top. I definitely think the first few generations of this were very risky. They were asking you to pay £1,500 or $1,500 to $2,000, and there was a good chance it was going to break. But the new one seems to have the Snapdragon 888, so it will be quick. And here are the pictures. So let's check the source. Let's go. Oh, that's the source of the specs, not the pictures. So here are some renders. They've all looked the same. The Samsung Galaxy Z. It looks really thin, this one, right enough. This one looks thinner than the phones over the last few years. It does look good. I do love the idea of this. I mean, you want the portability of it, but you still want the larger screen. It ticks all boxes. It looks nice. It really does look nice. The problem, like I said, the problem the last few years with not just this flip phone, but flip phones in general, is that they've not really lasted long. And I've seen a lot of them come up refurbished. I've seen a lot of them come up used, because I suspect the people that bought them for like £1,500 or something, they've returned it, and then Samsung have refurbished it and then have to sell it again. Hey, Time to Unbox, good to see you. Hey, I've not looked at Google Pixel 6. I saw an announcement, an early render of it, but it was just someone guessing as to what it will look like. I'll do a search for that though. What's your thoughts on flip phones in general though, guys? Right now, the big thing that's put me off is the price, but also the fact that they've been breaking very easily. They've not had a good reputation as far as reliability in the screen holding up. Right. Let's see if I can find... see these bloody tech websites. See the amount of advertisements and videos that pop up, and it's so annoying. I mean, just look at this. It's just browser cancer. Horrible. Excuse me. Missed them. The Japanese flip phones of yesteryear were awesome. Are you talking about back in the day, you know, before bigger screens, just kind of general Nokia kind of phones? I had, like, some of my favourite ever phones of the last 20 years were Nokia flip phones that either flipped or they you know, kind of had the slider that slid down. But obviously back then you didn't have a screen. You had a tiny screen that was in the base of one of them. Another one had the buttons or the calculator, different thing, calculate the numbers. Screen size isn't big enough. Prefer the Fold series. Even that the front display is too thin on a daily basis. Owned the Fold 2 and returned it due to the thin display. As far as the thin display, you're talking about as far as it wasn't reliable, it was prone to breaking. Well, I'll say, with regards to Japanese flip phones, I'm not an expert on the subject, but what I will say is, when I've only been to Japan once, I spent a few weeks there in 2007, the summer of 2007, and the crazy thing about Japan is, I mean, if you grew up like I have, you know, grew up in the 80s, Sony were huge, Japanese companies were huge, and it was the home of technology. And, you know, to a degree it still is, although Taiwan and Korea and all that have taken over. But when you go to Japan, it is all the things you'd expect it to be from a technology point of view. And the crazy thing is, all these flip phones and Japanese phones, and the majority of the models that are released in Japan are never released elsewhere. I don't know if they're using their country as a kind of test bed to see what works, or whether they're just releasing certain products that only work in Japan. But there's so many cool products that get released there that just don't get released outside of Japan. Not sure if that's still the case, but I remember seeing all these crazy phones and laptops and different things that you just didn't see anywhere else in the world. Or the form factor of the front display, right? Yeah, I mean, it's one of the problems, isn't it, with these flip phones. I remember a couple of years before Apple come in and kind of, you know, release something better. I know that Xiaomi are working on a flip phone as well. That's something that could be good, at least from a price point of view. Don't know how reliable it will be. We'll look at the Google Pixel 6. Before we do, I just want to have a quick look at this. Rugged phones. It's weird, man. I've had a lot of sellers recently like approach me to review phones, like kind of sub £300 phones, and they've asked me to review it. And quite a few of them have been like rugged phones with large batteries. So I've been keen to test one of them. I've been keen to try one of them out. I like the idea of a thicker phone that's rugged, that's got crazy battery life, if only for using in certain situations when I leave, you know, go on a trip or something. But there really isn't a huge market for this. You know, certainly not from large companies. There's not a lot of companies that are releasing these kind of rugged phones. But it's I've like you were saying, I do have a lot of like sellers, sometimes Amazon sellers, sometimes just people that are wanting their phones reviewed, and it just annoys me because about 99% of them are time wasters. They'll say, because they don't get to the point, I'll say, listen, I'll review it free of charge. You need to send the phone free, and they say, yeah, and they'll say, oh, we want you to check out this phone. I'm like, right, I'll look into it and I'll see if it's worthwhile reviewing or checking out on my channel. And then you go through your like 10, 15 emails, and they say, right, can you buy the phone first, and then we'll refund you 40% after you've published the review? And you're like, I told you at the start, I'm not buying your phone. I don't even want the phone. I'm only trying to, you know what I mean? Show my viewers your phone if you want me to show you it. Just, they're all time wasters. But I do want to show you some of these kind of crazy Chinese phones, but it's just frustrating having to deal with them. I know, like, Time to Unbox, his channel's still growing. He's got a few hundred subscribers, but when you get to a few thousand subscribers and when you get a couple of successful videos, you'll get approached by these Chinese sellers as well, these marketplace sellers, and they'll ask you to review them, they'll ask you to do that, but then they expect the world, they expect you to do everything. And I don't like selling out to these people either, because I'm like, well, I need to tell people that it's given for review, or we can't do that. I'm like, well, I'm not reviewing it. But it doesn't pay to, I don't know, it doesn't pay to be stubborn, I guess. Do you remember the Energizer phone that's something like a 50,000 milliamp battery, and the phone was thick? Then I covered something similar to that in a live stream a year or two ago. It was one from China. I think it was like 15,000 milliamps. It was just ridiculous. Big thick phone. I think at a certain point though, for that type of phone, you'd be as well just buying a Nokia brick phone, a non-smartphone, just a regular phone, and just keeping that in your car or whatever. Let's look at the rumours for the Pixel size, the 6.0. Right, what are they doing here? They're just guessing the price. Here we go. Right, so this is an early render. Right, so here, by the looks of it, they've got a few pictures of the Google Pixel 6, and the rest of it is just guessing here. They're saying a whole lot of nothing. The Pixel 6 looks to have a flat display with a slightly larger bezel than the 6 Pro. One thing about Pixel phones is they always look quite nice. They've always got a kind of minimal style. They always look quite good. But what I'm caring about here is the specs. Right. Let's look at the specs here, right? Probably going to be very, very... could be close to what we're going to get, but I'll take anything you see here with a pinch of salt. So saying Android 12, the 6 will have 6.4 inches for the screen diagonal. Full HD plus resolution, 120 Hz refresh rate, AMOLED screen. And they're using their own CPU. I suppose that's the biggest news there, the Google GS 101 Whitechapel. Right. I've not read about this. Oh, there it's there. It's rumoured to be a custom blend of ARM processing cores designed to offer near flagship level performance in single core processing. Right. Okay, that's good. Memory 8 gigabytes, storage 128, 50 megapixel wide angle, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then 8 megapixel at the front, 4600 milliamp battery, and then 6.71, 12 gigabytes, 50, 12, 48. I mean, looking at the specs there, it looks like a mid-range 2020 phone, or a good mid-range 2020 phone. I mean, we had a discussion about this a few days ago in the live stream about the Google Pixel 5 and the CPU that it used. Reviewing phones is an expensive business. That's why I've stopped doing it. That's why I've stopped doing it so often. Yeah, so with regards to this Google CPU, one of the criticisms, and we talked about this the other day, but one of the criticisms that we have, that most of us have, of the Google Pixel range now is that they've got this mid-range CPU in it. And Time to Unbox pointed out the other day, you can get phones with the same CPU as the Pixel 5, and you can get that phone for £200 where the Pixel phone is £600. It's just insane. So they've went with a mid-range CPU, still performs well, but they're charging a high premium for it. But what they're doing now is they're going for this custom CPU, which it does make, like, from my point of view, it makes it very hard, very, very hard or impossible, at least from a specs point of view, to just say, well, that's the same CPU as that phone, so it'll be similar performance. They went with their own CPU. And I realise specs don't always tell you the full picture, but I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical as to what the CPU will be like. I don't think it's going to be the same as the Snapdragon 888. I suspect it'll be closer to the mid-range CPUs out there. But the thing is, I mean, Apple's the best example of this. Granted, they've got one of the most powerful CPUs out there, but even when they didn't, they had less powerful CPUs at one point, and they gave a better experience because the CPU was tailored, specifically for the device. And that's clearly what Google are trying to do. Perhaps try to reduce costs as well. I'm not sure what this CPU is though. I mean, I don't know if they've just rebranded another CPU and tweaked it a little bit. I'm not sure. Look up the Energizer Power Max P18K Pop. That's such a mouthful. Right, let's check this out. Let's check out this bad boy. There's actual reviews of it. I'll just check out the... I'll check out the GSM Arena page first. You can check that out with it. Look at that. Look at that annoying advertisement in the background. I don't want animated video ads in the background. Energizer Power Max P18K Pop. So it's Android 9, 12 megapixel, 6 gigabytes of RAM. Oh, it's the Helio P70. So this is the CPU you saw in a lot of kind of mid-range Huawei Chinese type phones. But what we are concerned about here is the battery, 18,000 milliamp battery, 18,000, and it had 18 watts for fast charging. So what, I mean, what's that going to be? Like 18 watts is what you get in iPhones, I believe. So what's that? I mean, what's that going to be to charge? Is that going to be like 6-7 hours to charge it fully, or more than that? 5 hours, 6 hours? It looks like an absolute beast anyway. There'll be a review about that here somewhere. There is no review. Let me find the review. I hate how some of these terrible websites that don't actually have the product get to the top of the rankings. Right, notebook check. All right, that's just got... I think I've maybe found the Indiegogo page. Right, so I found the original Indiegogo page. Now, I'm not a big fan of these kind of crowdfunding kind of websites because there's so many scare stories of these companies that go on here of just not delivering, or delivering first to people who buy it on Amazon rather than the people who helped fund the project. There's so many projects that got launched here. This is a shambles, despite the fact, you know, there's some cool things that come out here. But this was the original campaign. They clearly didn't make it. They were aiming for £866,000 and they got 8 grand. So yeah, that's a bit underwhelming. Is it going to let us see it? Continue reading. Ah, here we go. Worldwide media coverage, that doesn't... 7 million views. This is not... Like, why are they telling us about million... Like, how many million views are there? That doesn't matter. What does that matter if you're trying to buy something? Look at the thickness of that phone. Jesus. Look at... That is basically just a battery pack at that point. Look at the thickness. That is incredible. I'll zoom in here just to show you this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That is a thick boy. That is a very thick boy. I mean, that is ridiculous. There is there. Look at that comparison. Look at it next to a 10,000 milliamp power bank. You basically got a power bank as a phone. That's all they've done. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's just weird seeing a phone that thick in 2021. Kind of mid-range cameras there. Oh, it's got dual pop-up at the front, right enough. Pop-up revolution, kind of went down the kind of Poco phone route. Quite interesting. They've been down that route with 2 dual cameras there. Yeah, it's a weird phone, isn't it? 2 dual cameras with a pop-up camera, but it's the thickest phone you've ever seen. It's also got a micro SD slot and 128GB ROM. I can't go over how thick that is though. I thought I was going to sneeze there. Nearly did. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely... That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. I mean, I can only imagine. Do I have any power banks about here? Do I have any power banks for a comparison? I've got so much crap lying about here. Ah, okay. This doesn't even work that well anymore. Okay, it still has a charge. I lie. That's like basically walking about like this. But this is your phone. Yeah, we've not seen many smartphones with pop-up cameras over the last year or so. Well, I had the Poco phone last year, the Poco F2. That had the pop-up camera. I like the idea. Like, it's actually, I'm surprised that we're not seeing more pop-up cameras. Because from, like, if you look at, I mean, if you've ever looked at any documentaries or any, watched any interviews with Ed Snowden or any kind of security expert, they always tell you to put a sticker over your camera. They always tell you to do that because it's not apparent if someone's hacked your phone or there's malware there and they're recording what you do, they've taken screenshots or whatever. and they always tell you to do that. And that's the thing, if you've got a pop-up camera, it's hidden. They're not going to be able to see you until that camera is activated. So from a security point of view, it's probably the best setup. You know, it's better than an underscreen camera. Anything that pops up and is hidden out the way and can't, you know, actually take a picture or record video, anything that does that is more secure. The 999 million or whatever that is, power banks on Wish. Wish is something I've never used, actually. I've never used Wish. It's hard to avoid Wish simply because, you know, they advertise so much. They're on so many YouTube videos as advertisers. I've just never went near them. I think because I always used to go to AliExpress and other places like that directly. That is ridiculous, though. Going back, just to kind of cycle back to the Google Pixel 6 that you were asking about. These early these early renders, etc. I've got, you know, going by the last few Google Pixels, I've got absolutely no doubt that it will be a nice phone. I've got absolutely no doubt that it will look good, but it's going to be overpriced. It really is going to be overpriced. And if you look at, you know, the price of the kind of lower end versions of iPhones now, and what they dropped to after about 3 or 4 months, I would say that one of the lower priced iPhones is a better option now than a Google Pixel phone. Generally, not for everyone. I know that's a blanket statement, but I think when you're talking about £600 for a mid-range processor, you really should just go towards an Apple phone. And I know that's a different thing. You know, Google's pure Android. Some people love it for that and all that. But from a performance point of view, it's really hard to justify that price. That's mine. Pop-up camera, no horrible hole on the screen, and better security. Yeah, that's the... You know, one of the concerns that I had when I bought the Poco F2 Pro last year was that the camera wouldn't last long, or it would be some sort of flaw in the design that it would break easily. But it was actually set up quite well. You know, if you touched it, it would pop back in. You controlled when it came in and out. And if you look at the website, I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but it was something crazy, like it could pop up and down about 500,000 times. So unless you're sitting popping it in and out thousands of times per day, then it was never going to be an issue. What turned out to be a bigger issue actually with that phone was the Type-C charging port. That's why I had to send mine back and why I don't have it just now. I'd still be using it. I genuinely, if I can speak, I would genuinely still be using the Poco F2 right now if I didn't have to send it back because of the charging issue that I had. Only reason I picked up this phone at Christmas is because the Poco F2 died. But I loved the pop-up camera. Yeah, well, for me, water resistance is not a major priority. I need a phone. Maybe you guys are different, but I want a phone that's water resistant enough so that if I spill a drink on it, or you know, it falls into the toilet or a sink or something like that, I want it to be so that it survives that and there's no problems internally with that. But I don't need my phone to be able to last an hour underwater or 30 minutes underwater. I don't need to use it that way. I'm not saying it's gimmicky. I just don't have any need to use it underwater. I don't know if you guys are different. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those things that maybe it should become standardized, but we've seen in the last few years that certain phone companies have to decide whether they want weather resistance or not, and it does influence other parts of the design, you know, as far as buttons or the ports or different things. I just want a minimal amount of water resistance. Yeah, just enough so that your phone doesn't die. That's how I would go. That's the kind of what I would need. Right, I'm going to clear up some of these. The browser's busy here. Let's clear some of these windows. Let's go through, get rid of some of them. It's getting noisy up there. It's getting busy. Is there any other stories or any other topics you wanted me to cover? Are you happy for me to just kind of browse around? Oh, what's that about the Razer's latest Blade 17 features 11 Gen? Yeah, I've been looking at the gaming laptops a little bit recently. I mean, 360 hertz display. So those of you, no problem, Saucy Ultra, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm not sure how long I'll be on, maybe another half an hour at least. One of the things that we've seen this year is that when it comes to buying a gaming laptop, there are some displays out there now on laptops, certainly with the 15 and 17 inch laptops, that give you a 360 hertz display at 1080p. But for me, the sweet spot right now is a 240 hertz display on a 1440p resolution. So that rather than having 1920 by 1080 and 360 hertz, I would rather go for a 1440p resolution with 240 hertz. To me, that is a better sweet spot. It's better for browsing. I realize, it's not perfect in every situation. The other thing we've seen this year in 15, 17 inch laptops is there's some 4K displays with 120 hertz. So the best options right now, if you're looking to buy a gaming laptop, the best option is 1080p at 360, 1440p at 240, or 4K at 120. The problem I have with a 360 hertz display is that unless you're playing a game like Counter-Strike or something like that doesn't really need a lot of power, you're not going to get 360 hertz. Like, that isn't going to give you 360 frames per second on Warzone or Battlefield or something like that. You'll probably be closer to like 150 to 200 frames per second, depending on what you do with your settings. So if I was buying a laptop just now, it's a good argument for 4K 120 if you watch a lot of movies, Still think 1440p on a 15-inch screen is just the sweet spot right now, this year anyway. A little bit cheaper as well. Yeah, I'm going to have to wait a few months before I replace my laptop, though, realistically. From a financial point of view, anyway, I've got too many other things on the agenda before I get one. It looks like graphics cards are going to start becoming more available again because of what's happening in the cryptocurrency world, with regards to Ethereum, etc. So we might start to see graphics cards coming down in price. We might start to see PCs with graphics cards coming down, and maybe that will affect the gaming laptop market as well. I don't know. From a gaming point of view, though, like, the biggest thing for me this year, from a gaming point of view, would be a monitor. So right now, how can I show you this? Well, I've got an ultra wide monitor there, which is 100 hertz, and I've got a gaming monitor here, which is 1440p, 27 inches, and 144 hertz. Now that's what I use just now, but what I'd love to do is get an HDMI 2.1 monitor, one that allows me to play 4K at 120 hertz. No, thanks, man. I'm going to try and do more. That's what I'll try and do, and I'll do regular videos in between whenever I can. Cheers. No, I appreciate the feedback. I'm going to try and do more live streams. Let's see if I can get this. Let's see if I can do a live, unplanned show and tell here. Okay. So this here, I've got an old hard drive hanging out the back of it, but this is, as you can see, this is an Xbox Series X, and this is what I've mostly been playing games on recently. Now, get this down. Now, one of the things about that is that you can play 4K at 120 hertz, but I don't have a 4K monitor yet because previously I didn't get one because the refresh rate was lower. But there are 4K monitors coming out with 120 hertz. They're HDMI 2.1. The problem right now is that they're damn expensive. They're really, really expensive. And in hindsight, I should have went for the Xbox Series S, because the Xbox Series S can do 1440p at 120 hertz, which is what I've been playing at. But I kind of future-proofed myself, I guess, by going for the Xbox Series X. But in hindsight, that was maybe money I should have spent elsewhere. But it'll be good to see more monitors coming out, more TVs coming out that support 4K at 120 hertz. It'll be good to see, the higher refresh rates. But one of the things that has annoyed me with the Xbox Series X is that they don't offer you a higher refresh rate than 120 hertz. So it's 4K 120 or 1440p 120. It doesn't give me the option to say, well, can I get, say, 200 or 144 or whatever. It doesn't give me an option of 240 at 1440p. From a performance power point of view, they should be able to do that. They should be able to do that because you're obviously delivering less pixels. Whether Xbox offers that later, I don't know. But I think if you're dropping the resolution, they should be able to offer you a higher refresh rate. There's maybe some reasons why they don't do that as far as fairness, as far as people playing against each other, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. If there's anything else you want to talk about, let me know. But if not, I will start tying things up shortly. But if there's anything else you want to talk about, please do let me know. The live stream the other day was a little bit longer, but whenever I do these live streams, I don't like to overstay my welcome. So if there's not a lot of people here and we've kind of covered the main topics of the day, or we discussed what we needed to discuss, then I don't want to outstay my welcome. This is a story, forget here. This is a story I saw the other day, which will be relevant if you're an Apple fan. Apple have finally released a battery pack using MagSafe. So it just sticks onto the back of the iPhone 12. When I bought the iPhone 12 mini last year, the MagSafe idea was really good. I like the idea that they're using, that they've got the magnet at the back that you can put your case and all that there. It seemed gimmicky, but it did work quite well. But the options that were there as far as cases, as far as different things that you attached, it was a little bit limited as well. Plus the cases were just ridiculously expensive. This battery pack will maybe go a long way into addressing the fact that iPhones generally don't have great battery life, certainly when compared to phones of the same size. I'm surprised this wasn't released last year though. Why wasn't that released at launch? I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't released last year. I'm not sure why it wasn't. But anyway, I digress. Right, guys, I don't want to overstay my welcome today. I've been streaming for about 15 minutes or so. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I'll try and do another live stream, if not tomorrow, perhaps Saturday. I'll try and do a live stream. I am trying to do more live streams for you guys. It seems to be what many of you enjoy, and I enjoy doing it myself. It's quicker to do it as well than a regular video. And if there's anything you want me to discuss in a future live stream and you're planning on tuning in to live stream, send me a tweet at Kevin Muldoon on Twitter, or you can send me an email if you want as well. But just get in touch. I'll make a point of covering it. Or simply tune in and say, hey, check out this. And I'll bring out the browser, as they say. But many thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate everyone who's tuned in today, everyone who's tuned in and commented. I'll do some more live streams soon, and maybe I'll mix it up. In the next live stream we can do a review, or we can do something different as well, rather than just looking at news. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream, and I'll speak to you all very soon.